This tennis player just pulled off one of the most unbelievable runs in tennis history. Ranked number 204 in the world, this run was marked by many as the most shocking tournament result ever. But this isn't just a regular, nice underdog story. This run was a statistical anomaly that will for years be an unsolvable puzzle for tennis experts. So, what are the secrets to this run? And what exactly happened? Valentin Vacherot is 26, from a tiny country of Monaco. Not exactly a tennis powerhouse. Prior to this tournament, his career at the ATP Tour level was almost non-existent. He played some challengers and was ranked number 204. He had one tour-level win under his belt but wanted to play the Shanghai Masters in China, so he entered qualifying as an alternate, which means if it wasn't for some players' withdrawals, he wouldn't even have played the qualifiers. So when I say this win was a once-in-a-lifetime story, trust me, it's more than that. It's a full-on rewriting of what we believed was possible in tennis. So the tournament comes. The prestigious Rolex Shanghai Masters in China, where top 20 players expect to dominate. In his qualifying round 1, Vacherot battled past Etching with a tough 3-setter. And in the second qualifying round, he barely managed to edge out Liam Draxl. But in both of these matches, he lost the first set. And being a qualifying alternate, this was already quite a result. Once he made it to the main draw, the magic began. In the first round, he faced Laszlo Djere, a solid top 60 player, and won in straight sets 6-3, 6-4. It was a nice win, but nothing unbelievable yet. In round 2, he faced Alexander Bublik, the 18th seed, one of the most unpredictable players on tour. Vacherot lost the first set, but then found another gear, winning 3-6, 6-3, 6-4. That's when people started noticing him. A qualifier from Monaco beating a seeded player? That's not supposed to happen. And later I'll explain how he used simple tactics and a simple change of mindset to shock top players. In round 3, Vacherot faced Thomas Makash, world number 22. At this point, Vacherot had some eyes on him. This wasn't just luck anymore. He was actually playing great tennis. From the very first point, Vacherot took control. He was confident, aggressive, and completely in rhythm. He led 6-0, 3-1 before Makash had to retire with an injury. Not the way anyone wants to win, but it was clear that Vacherot did something different. He had something special, but nobody knew exactly what. And just like that, the world number 204 was in the round of 16. Next up, it was Talon Griekspoor, world number 31, one of the most solid players on tour. Once again, Vacherot lost the first set 6-4, and once again, he didn't panic. He stayed patient, kept playing aggressive, and slowly turned the match around. He took the second set in a tiebreak, then closed it 6-4 in the third. By this point, people across the tennis world were paying attention. This qualifier from Monaco wasn't just having a lucky week, he was beating serious players. But nobody could quite figure out what it was. His focus, his composure, the way he never looked nervous, it stood out. Now, here comes the part that separates a good run from a once-in-100-years type of run. When low-ranked players make a couple of good wins in a big tournament, they usually fall around the quarterfinals. This is what many people expected to happen with Vacherot. Quarterfinals is the moment when the level of game levels up very quickly. Sure, Vacherot shocked a couple of great players, but it was still unsure if he could do it against the world's best. By far the biggest challenge so far, and probably the most intense match of the whole tournament, was in front of Vacherot. He faced Holger Rune, and people often forget how good Holger is. Rune reached the world number 4 at just 20 years old and beat the likes of Alcaraz and Djokovic multiple times. Nobody was expecting Vacherot to even come close to winning this match. Rune dominated the first set 6-2, and it looked like everything was turning out as expected. But as Vacherot showed in previous matches, being a set down only makes him more hungry to win. Vacherot stayed aggressive and patient while slowly gaining momentum. He stayed calm in crucial moments and took the second set 7-6, barely winning in the tiebreak. In the deciding set, Rune was struggling physically, but Vacherot was completely fine. He kept constantly attacking and putting pressure on Rune and took the deciding set 6-4, winning 2-6, 7-6, 6-4. This was probably one of the most incredible moments in tennis for a long time, but the story only gets better from here. Next up was none other than Novak Djokovic. By now it was clear that Vacherot is not a joke. But remember, he's a young player and doesn't really have much experience playing against these top 10 guys. So playing against the most experienced player on tour is definitely going to place him in unknown territory. But the question is, how will he handle that? In this match, Vacherot relied on his physical superiority over Novak. Even though Djokovic is still one of the best in the world, in terms of fitness, he couldn't really compete with a 26-year-old. Vacherot managed to use this advantage really well and ended up winning the match 6-3, 6-4. But of course, it wasn't so simple. Here's how Vacherot summarized his match against Novak.
Before, when I was warming up and all, I was like, there's probably a part in me that's better than this guy. It's my fitness. Like all of the other guys, I couldn't say that. But we know that Novak is close to 40 years old. And I'm like playing well. I'm like stretching him on his forehand. He's like slapping his forehand down the line this far from the baseline. I'm like focusing on myself. I'm like, don't look at him. Don't look at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make him run. Don't be nice. Don't just play on him because he's hurt. It actually worked. And yeah.
Even though Djokovic wasn't in his best physical shape, Vacherot's easy win over Novak combined with his previous victories made him a global sensation. Overnight, everyone was talking about just one name. Vacherot went from being a random challenger player to a good underdog and now to a famous tennis star, all in one tournament. But it wasn't over yet. With all eyes on Vacherot, he came into the final. And as a cherry on top, the person waiting for him in the final was none other than his cousin Arthur Rinderknecht. They played and trained together for years, and even shared the court back in their college days. This wasn't good news for Vacherot, as his huge advantage throughout this tournament was that nobody knew his game. But now he had to face someone that knows how he plays, and if he doesn't win, he will disappoint countless tennis fans who want him to go to the end. Vacherot became popular in the tennis world and was sure to bring home a lot of prize money, but the pressure was never higher. He couldn't miss the opportunity to make one of the most historic runs in tennis history. The match started with Rinderknecht taking the early lead. He broke Vacherot's serve in the third game and held that advantage to win the first set 6-4. Vacherot knew he had to show his best now. He refused to back down. He lifted his level, served more consistently, and started dictating the game. Just like he did against Bublik, Griekspoor, and Rune, he came back from being a set down and won the match 4-6, 6-3, 6-3. This cemented Vacherot into tennis history and made him the lowest-ranked Masters 1000 champion ever. Subscribe.